Are we live? I'm worried I'm slowing up a little bit. All righty, are we live? Okay, I think we are. I apologize, my computer had a bit of an issue on that last video too, but I think we're okay here. It looks like we're coming through all right. Okay, welcome aboard, everyone. We are back with some trivia here. I'm sure, I hope I'm not blowing out your ears with this. I know the last couple videos I've had, it right at like the first couple words I say, I think the mic gets a little too sensitive there. So hopefully it's adjusted by now and we're all good to go here. Okay, so I figure with everything and all that, we dropped down to 2 people here. Let's see, make sure we're still good. Didn't drop off here, did we? Okay. Let me know if the audio is getting too bad or something. I can close some windows if that's getting to be an issue. But okay, so we got the trivia for tonight. I thought I left this at the other place, but luckily I got this right here. I also have the Bill Elliott car as well. I was going to start off with the Elliott one here since we haven't done this in a while and see if maybe we could shake out some really difficult questions from this one here in the meantime. So welcome aboard, everyone. We are going to do some trivia, a little bonus thing here on Wednesday. I know we didn't have one after Talladega. By the time I got finished watching the race on Sunday, I think it was like, gosh, it was like 8 o'clock or something, I think, at least Pacific time. So we'll go ahead and jump into this one here. And then our next one will probably be when we do the one for, what is it, this weekend, Pocono. I got the Entry List Storylines article coming together there, so we'll have that for you. Also, our William Saki, our ARCA correspondent, check out his article on Con Nicolopoulos' run at Talladega. Try saying that 3 times fast. And he also has a special interview he had with another driver who was actually in the Eldora Dirt Derby last year. That's going to be posted tonight. So definitely check that out. I'll have that posted tonight. And then the Entry List Storylines article will be posted on Friday for all 4 of the races in Pocono. So lots of content we're working on here. And we're going to start off with some trivia here in the meantime. Okay. True or false? Bill Elliott won the championship in 1985. True or false? Bill Elliott won the championship in 1985 is our first question. Unfortunately, we get the true false ones right off the bat here. But maybe we'll get something a little more challenging here. True or false? Bill Elliott won the championship in 1985 is our first question. I think I'm too far from the mic. Let me get a little bit closer. All righty, you guys got it. Of course, that is false. Darrell Waltrip would certainly take exception to that. Okay. False. Let's see. Can we get some unusual ones here? Okay. What was the last year Plymouth visited Victory Lane? Here we go. This is a good one. What was the last year that Plymouth visited Victory Lane? Don't look it up. Go ahead and make a guess here. The last year that Plymouth went to Victory Lane in NASCAR, or Cup Series specifically. The last time that Plymouth went to Victory Lane. We have a guess for 72. Any other guesses from here? Make sure I got the Q&A button hit. Here we go. One guess for 72. Any other guesses here? 71, 71, 72. The last win for Plymouth. The last time Plymouth visited Victory Lane. I'm glad that showed up on this one. I was worried we were getting too many of the easy questions on this one. Alrighty, so you can guess for 71 and 72, one for 79, and the answer is wait a minute, 1949? That can't be right. Hang on. Did I misread that? It says 49. What was the last year Plymouth visited Victory Lane? No, it should be, yeah. It says 49. That's crazy. No, I mean, there was Dick Brooks, right? And he had the 22 car. Okay, well, goodness, this is not a good start to this. We're gonna. Okay, that can't be right. What is it? Was it 70? It was like 73 or something, wasn't it? Dick Brooks' last win. Dick Brooks. My keyboard's not on. Dick Brooks. Yeah, the 22 car. 1973. Yeah, 1973. His first win. That's the correct one. Okay. Yeah. Weird. Alrighty. Okay. Or was it Richard Petty? I thought it was Dick Brooks. I think by 73, the Plymouths had already kind of scaled back at the Cup Series a bit. I mean, obviously, Petty products there. He did Plymouth as well, but if we're going to be the first year, but yeah, that was a first for everything. I don't see the point of a trivia question on that. Okay, let's see if we can get some good ones here. We'll get a few more. What is the length of Atlanta Motor Speedway? What is the length of Atlanta Motor Speedway? Next question on that. This one's still loading. Okay, there we go. What is the length of Atlanta Motor Speedway? 1.6, 1.54, 1.5, 1.76, 1.53. Alrighty, 1.5, 1.5. And the answer is 1.544 miles. There we go. Dusty DeBoer, you're about the closest on that one. 1.544, it says on here. It goes all the way to the thousandth on that one. Okay, 1.544. True or false, Bill Elliott and Jeff Gordon are the only drivers to win the Winston Million. True or false, Jeff Gordon and Bill Elliott are the only drivers to win the Winston Million. True or false? That is our next one. We're going to switch over to the Trivial Pursuit one pretty soon. These are okay, but they're a little bit easier there. All right, we got several guesses for true. We got several ones for true. Oh, we got a lot of T's filling up the screen here. And the answer is false? What? Okay, I guess false. How is that false? I mean, this is by 99. Okay, I mean, Gordon did it in 97. Elliott did it in 85. This thing's from 99. I mean, unless they're counting the Noble 5, but that's a different program. True or false, Bill Elliott and Jeff Gordon are the only drivers to win the Winston Million. Yeah, that's true. That's well, I mean, okay. I mean, yeah, if it existed in a different time period, that's one thing. But I mean, the program didn't exist. It's not asking who won like 3 crown jewel races. It's asking who actually won the race. Okay, we're good with that one. We're gonna do the other one. No, it was 1949. See, there you go. It could be. Okay. Here we go. Hang on. Alrighty. Okay. So here we go. We're gonna move on from the Elliott one for right now. I think that one's going to be spending some time behind the wall here for a little bit. We'll go back to this one here in the meantime. Alrighty. So same rules. One bite, everybody knows the rules. Okay, we're going to start with the different categories here. Whoever wants this particular category won the Winston Million driving a Plymouth. Exactly. We got NASCAR, pits, teams, tracks, drivers, and the wild card. Go ahead and mention in the comments which category you want to do. The one with the most votes, we'll go ahead and do that one. Start it off again. The categories are NASCAR, pits, teams, tracks, drivers, and the wild card. Teams, tracks, drivers. We got 2 for tracks so far. NASCAR, pits, teams, tracks, drivers, and the wild card. Those are the categories. Okay, we got a couple for teams. Yeah, see for tracks here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's slightly more for tracks, so we'll do tracks here. I don't know if we've done that on this, or at least we haven't done it in a while. Okay, tracks is the category. First question for tracks. Welcome aboard, everyone who's just joining in. We just had problems with the other trivia car, so we are going to do the little gray thing here at this point. What NASCAR Winston Cup Series track sits on the former site of a dairy farm? What NASCAR Winston Cup Series track sits on the former site of a dairy farm? That is our first question. What NASCAR Winston Cup Series track sits on the former site of a dairy farm? Yeah, Watkins Glen, Darlington. Any other guesses on there? Bristol, Darlington, Watkins Glen, Wilkesboro. We got okay. It could be anything. It could be. It doesn't say former or current. It just says what NASCAR Winston Cup Series track sits on the former site of a dairy farm. That is our next question. Take Dover for fun. Yeah, you never know. Charlotte, Richmond. Okay, we got a really good cross section here. And the answer: Rockingham, Bristol, Pocono. The answer: Bristol. Bristol is the correct answer. I see K-Train 2787. You got it. Doritos and Mountain Dew. Bristol is the correct answer. I saw those Watkins Glen on there. It seemed like that was going to be an option. It certainly is on some kind of farmland. Bristol is the correct answer. Okay, we got some good ones here. Okay. What 1 mile track's inaugural 1969 race was won by Richard Petty? What 1 mile track's inaugural 1969 race was won by Richard Petty? That's our next question. What 1 mile track's inaugural 1969 race was won by Richard Petty? There you go. Dover, Martinsville. No need to retract comments there, guys. There's no such thing as a bad guess on this. It can always be 15 seconds. You never know. What 1 mile track's inaugural 1969 race was won by Richard Petty? We got several guesses for Dover, Martinsville, Texas. Dover had only 300 miles back then. Oh, extra credit. Okay. And the answer is indeed Dover. Dover is the correct answer. You guys got it. You guys got it. That's right. They did the anniversary celebration last season. All righty. Here we go. What track had its first yellow-free event after 29 years of racing in 1997? What track had its first yellow-free or caution-free event after 29 years of racing in 1997? Welcome aboard, LaJoy fan. Good to see you. We got a good number of people in here. Excellent. Welcome aboard, everyone. What track had its first caution-free event after 29 years of racing in 1997? I see ones for Talladega, New Hampshire. Most of them for Talladega, and the answer is indeed Talladega. There you go. You would think a caution-free race at Talladega wouldn't be interesting, but I'll tell you, it's quite the opposite. It turns into an endurance match where you're not sure if they can keep up the pace, or mechanical issues end up being more of a factor. It certainly makes that fun to see. But the 97 race, I watched bits of it there lately. I haven't rewatched it in a while, but that'll be a good one. Next question. What track's 1971 NASCAR Winston Cup debut had a record $200,000 purse? What track's 1971 NASCAR Winston Cup debut had a record $200,000 purse? I believe it still is the fastest race in history. Because the Buddy Baker 500 record, I think, was even beaten by that, the one that Mark Martin won in 97. What track's 1971 NASCAR Winston Cup debut had a record $200,000 purse? Okay, we got guesses for Ontario, Texas World Speedway, Texas World in Ontario. Okay, we got guesses for tracks that, well, as they're tearing up Texas World, unfortunately, tracks no longer not only on the circuit, but perhaps in the, Ontario, there's absolutely nothing there. There's a Hooters where Turn 3 used to be. They had Clint Boyer's team and stuff was over there from during the Fontana weekend. That wasn't last year. I think it was the year before. But that was or this year. It wasn't this year. It was a couple of years ago. Last time we were there, I think it was 2018. All right. The answer is Ontario. Ontario is indeed the correct one. Texas World's a good guess, but Ontario is the correct answer. Yeah, they're almost the same. Well, I mean, they're all the same in a sense, but I mean, Ontario is more like a smaller Indianapolis or a duplicate of Indianapolis, and not quite entirely. The straightaways and the banking's a bit different. But Texas World is more like a Michigan clone, but it's like Michigan but larger, larger and faster and all that. So gotta have that going. Interesting histories for those tracks, though. Which track has seating areas named Commonwealth, Old Dominion, and Colonial? Next question on here. Which track has seating areas named Commonwealth, Old Dominion, and Colonial? Hey there, AJ. Welcome aboard. You got a good group here. Oh, this is excellent. I'm glad everybody could come by here. All righty. Can't wait for the trip I plan to go to California actually happened. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's nice out there right now. It's really good, but unfortunately, yeah, no racing in Sonoma at this time, and everything feels off. I'll tell you. Uh, so hopefully we're not gonna have to wait too much longer. I'm trying to convince myself that it's just delayed and not canceled, even though it's obviously been canceled this year. So I know it's not going to happen later this year, but hopefully it'll be. I don't know. I'm actually kind of hoping it gets pushed to the spring next year, because at least that'll be less time to wait for it. But we'll see. We'll see. Which track has seating areas named Commonwealth, Old Dominion, and Colonial? The answer is Richmond. Richmond. Isaac McKissick, you got that. And Goldsmith 1210 and K-Train 787. And Shardab 88. Oh, yeah. Look at it. You guys are really quick on the button on that one. There we go. Road America for IndyCar. That would be cool. Jack Garland was I an Ernie Irvan fan? I'll tell you what. Yeah, he was fun to watch. He was not my guy, like not my main guy, but I mean, my goodness, he won the first race I ever went to at Sears Point in 1992 when he came from worst to first, and of course, him being a local boy up here in the Bay Area, it's definitely a driver that enjoyed following in his career, and it's unfortunate that his career ended the way that it did. He was a lot of fun to watch out there. I make a lot of comparisons between him and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. today for like how much grief he gets and how many incidents he's been involved in and everything. But I think in both respects, very talented driver, and we saw a lot from Stenhouse and Sunday at Talladega. So it's a little bit that reminds me on that. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed following his career, but he wasn't like my main guy. Like Jayski, was a huge Ernie Irvan fan. He had I don't know if the page is still up anymore, but he has a big Ernie Irvan tribute page on there. Yeah, he started a few in '99. He had a bush practice in '99 in Michigan where he got hurt, because he got hurt in Michigan very seriously in '94, and then he had another wreck at Michigan in '99 that doesn't get really talked about. And he retired basically leading into Bristol, which got actually Jerry Nadeau into the 36 car and ultimately led to him rejoining MB2 Motorsports in 2003. So it's kind of an interesting deal there. The NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Oh yeah, is that starting already? I didn't want to overlap with that. Does it start at 4:30 or does it start at 5? I don't want to overlap too much with that, because I know they got a stacked show on there. Never realized the similarity. Yeah, see, exactly. I always make that comparison. What kind of cars were driven in Rebel 300 races at Darlington from 1957 through 1962? It's at 8? Okay. We'll have this go. Okay, it's usually at 5 p.m. Okay, we'll call this before the test there. So you guys that check out their podcast and everything, that'd be cool. I know Darian popped in on my last live stream there earlier, so that was cool. So I know they do good work over there. So we'll wrap this up at 5 o'clock, and that works. That's fine for me too. What kind of cars were driven in Rebel 300 races at Darlington from 1957 through 1962? Convertibles, race cars. Oh, 8206. You're playing the game right. Through 1957 through 1962. Several guesses for convertibles. The answer is indeed convertibles. Convertibles is the correct answer. All right. This tracks category is good. Have we ever done this? I mean, if we have, it's been a while. But good choice, you guys, on this one. What class of car had a separate 40-lap race during the first Daytona 500? World-class superfast automobiles. What class of car had a separate 40-lap race during the first Daytona 500? What class of car had a separate 40-lap race during the first Daytona 500? We have sportsman cars, modifieds, convertibles. What class of car had a separate 40-lap race, 40, during the first Daytona 500? The pony cars, Indy cars, USAC, all good guesses. The first Daytona 500, so we're talking 59. What class of car had a separate 40-lap race during the first Daytona 500? Might be the Baby Grand, the Barracudas, Camaros, yeah. And the answer is convertibles. It's convertibles again. It's a trick question. Two consecutive questions on convertibles. This joins Ray Fox in 15 seconds in the pantheon of answers that are going to be very common on this thing, I guess. All right. Convertibles is indeed the answer again. So the next one, I guess convertibles is the answer to this one? Might be. What driver won the most Winston 500 races at Talladega in the 70s? What driver won the most Winston 500 races at Talladega in the 70s? That is our next question. Convertible. Buddy Baker, his first guess. Any other guesses here? What driver won the most Winston 500 races at Talladega in the 70s? Baker, Petty, Yarbrough? Blake, do you mean Leroy Yarbrough or Cale Yarbrough? You have the Leroy spelling there. Pearson, Baker. What driver won the most Winston 500 races at Talladega in the 70s? Yarborough. There we go. Richard Petty's a safe guess. Yeah, could be on that. What driver won the most Winston 500 races at Talladega in the 70s? Okay, Cale. Okay, there we go. All righty. And the answer is David Pearson. David Pearson. I saw that come up a couple times here. Who had that first? Okay, Train, you were on it there. 2787. You got it. Andrew Hayes, you got it also. There we go. Pearson, David Pearson, Silver Fox. Wouldn't have been my guess either. Seemed like a Buddy Baker or Cale Yarborough question. Although, yeah, Richard Petty's usually a safe bet with a lot of that. Of course, the thing with Petty that's interesting is which races or which tracks he didn't win on as much, even though he had the 200 wins, of course. You know, the stats at the Southern 500 I think are most interesting to me, and the fact that he didn't win at Riverside until quite a while, until Dan Gurney had racked up pretty much all of his. So those are kind of interesting statistics when you look at it. How many laps are run in a 500-mile race at California Speedway? Another California question. How many laps are run in a 500-mile race at California Speedway? Our next question. How many laps are run in a 500-mile race at California Speedway? 200, 250, 200, 250. Any other guesses on here? How many laps are run in a 500-mile race at California Speedway? And you guys got it. The answer is indeed 250. You got it. 250 for a 500-mile race. 500 miles. So you guys, the guys get the 200. You had the right idea for the 400-mile race, obviously that it is now. But back then, yeah, 500-mile race at Fontana. Alrighty. What track saw 75 lead changes among 13 drivers in 1984 to set a NASCAR record? Yeah, math is confusing. I'm with you on that. That's why I went to the English major instead. What track saw 75 lead changes among 13 drivers in 1984 to set a NASCAR record? What track saw 75 lead changes among 13 drivers in 1984 to set a NASCAR record? Okay, we got Daytona or Talladega, Talladega, Daytona, Talladega. Okay. And the answer is indeed Talladega. Remember, the starting line is here, and then it's over here. There we go. Sears Point, yeah, that'd be amazing too. It was 74 laps back then, back in, well, not 84, but in 89. Alrighty. Okay. What track hosted the first 500-mile NASCAR sanctioned race? What track hosted the first 500-mile NASCAR sanctioned race? So go ahead and jump in on there. What track hosted the first 500-mile NASCAR sanctioned race? Okay, we got guesses for Darlington, Daytona, Darlington, Daytona, Darlington, Charlotte, Darlington, everything back and forth there. What track hosted the first 500-mile NASCAR sanctioned race? That is our next question. Alrighty, the answer, of course, is Darlington. Indeed, Darlington. That swampy playground in South Carolina, absolutely. A must visit. I can't state that enough. I am a huge Sears Point fan, and I would highly recommend checking that one as well. But I would also highly recommend checking out Darlington. The TV does it. This is probably true of really most of the tracks, but it's particularly true at Darlington. The TV does not do it justice. You will be completely boggled how they're able to drive those cars around that track. It looks impossibly narrow. It's generous to say there's a full lane that they can run. It's maybe half a lane around there, especially in like 1 and 2. And if you stand in the infield and you're looking up at that banking, and the car looks like it's out of control. Even with this aero package, it doesn't help. Like it's still really treacherous. Fantastic place to watch a race. Those of you considering doing the throwback weekend, which hopefully is going to have none of these restrictions in it, and when it's the chase, the playoff race here later this year, I'd highly recommend that for sure. I don't know if we're going to get to it this year, but it's one I'm definitely always open to considering for sure. Our visit is Daytona. Oh yeah, I'd love to do Daytona. We almost had that coming this year. Just couldn't make it happen on that. But that was one we were looking at. We'll see see how things work out here the days ahead. Actually worked out for the best with that rain delay and stuff. That would have been really difficult travel wise. So I think that worked. I think that worked out all right with everything. Alrighty. Okay, what track first opened in 1909 as an automobile testing facility? Next question is, what track first opened in 1909 as an automobile testing facility? We've seen a race at the Roval in person. That'd be awesome too. A good friend of mine, that was the first race he ever went to. I'm like, man, you picked the right one. Even the drivers don't know what the heck's going to happen. So that was a lot of fun. What track first opened in 1909? Excuse me. As an automobile testing facility? That is our next question. And you guys got Indy on there? Yes, indeed. The answer is Indy. As much as it stinks that so many things got delayed and canceled and moved around, it is nice to know that it's the end of June and we still have the Indy 500 to look forward to. And it sounds like the tickets are selling well for that race too, so that's good news. You get good news wherever you can get it these days. 4th of July weekend's going to be a little crazy, but we'll find out. All righty. So next question on here: who won the 1998 Goodwrench 500? And that's all the information it gives you. Doesn't say what track. Who won the 1998 Goodwrench 500? Who was the winner of that race? The 1998 Goodwrench 500. Daytona Beach is a great little city. No, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Gordon Martin, Jarrett. Wait, I have the pen. Oh, get right on. You got 1/3 of a chance of being right. That's an understatement. Absolutely. Where's your Jarrett guess? Okay, Blake. Yeah, Blake got it. All righty. Winner of the 1998 Goodwrench 500. The winner was Jeff Gordon. Indeed, Jeff Gordon. I think the Spring Rockingham race, if I'm not mistaken. At least that year. All right. Okay. Next question here. Oh, see, there you go. You got the official collector's pin. Right on, man. How many times did Bobby Allison win the Daytona 500? Spring Rockingham was 400 miles. Was it the fall one? Was it the fall Rockingham race? Okay. Okay, that'd be more momentous. That was when he locked the championship up, right? Okay. How many times did Bobby Allison win the Daytona 500? Your guess is for 3, 3, 3, What are my thoughts on Todd Gilliland? What did he do something? I don't, you know. They converted to 400 miles at the end of 95. Okay, so the 500 is, it says Goodwrench 500 on that one. Did they get that wrong, or is this, you know, or is it referring to a different track? Like, I guess it wouldn't be Dover. Because I hear Goodwrench, I almost think Michigan, but of course that would be 400 miles. Yeah. How many times did Bobby Allison win the Daytona 500? Of course, the answer is 3. There you go. Get something obscure like what's on the tickets for the 92 Hooters 500. That'd be cool. I mean, it's Richard Petty, you know, I mean, maybe, you know, I like that, but that'd be good too. Yeah, hopefully we get something obscure. This category is promising. I think we'll stick with this a little bit more and see what we can get. How are we doing on time? Okay, we got about half an hour. That's good. All right. Thoughts on Todd Gilliland? I saw it pop up on here. I mean, he's a good talent. I rode in the shopping cart around Sears Point with him at the track because they have that large red shopping cart with a big engine in the bottom of it. And they actually had like this media thing where they would take like a lap around the track. I thought it was great. I was pretty much one of only like maybe 3 people that showed up for it. And Todd Gilliland was there, and it was great. He was getting ready to run the K&N race there, and you know, he's kind of quiet, mild mannered, like a lot of these kids are. You know, kind of a Justin Haley, you know, kind of type and stuff. But he seems to be making things happen in that 38 truck this year, and you know, we'll see what he can do at Pocono this weekend. Anything's certainly possible. It's just interesting with this next generation. Obviously, just the other day. I mean, one thing, if we did the show on Sunday, I would certainly talk more about, I know we touched on it on Twitter, is just what a great run John Hunter Nemechek had at the end of that race. You know, it really matched his aggression perfectly. He was going to shove Eric Jones to the win or just drive right through him at that rate, and it shook out that way. So that was interesting. Tickets for the 2011 Bud Shootout had a picture of the fan zone. There we go. What presidential candidate saw David Pearson win the 1976 Atlanta 500? What presidential candidate saw David Pearson win the 1976 Atlanta 500? We got president questions. Here we go. What presidential candidate saw David Pearson win the 1976 Atlanta 500? I guess this is for Carter and Ford and Carter and Carter and Carter and Jimmy Carter. Several guesses for Carter, one for Trump, the peanut farmer. And the answer is indeed Jimmy Carter. Yep, indeed. He worked at a track growing up too, didn't he? I remember hearing that somewhere. All righty. How many more points are awarded for a super speedway win than a short track win? How many more points are awarded for a super speedway win than a short track win? How many more points are awarded for a super speedway win than a short track win? 5, 10, 20, 0. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. Okay. How many more points are awarded for a super speedway win than a short track win is next question. Yeah, I know. It's a weird question. It's a weird one, I will admit. How many more points are awarded for a super speedway win than a short track win? This is the kind of question that like somebody outside the sport would ask. Like maybe like, oh, you know, are different tracks worth more points or something? It's a good question. But the answer is, of course, 0. There is no difference. It would be 0. Trick question on that one. It is interesting when you're explaining the sport to somebody outside of it. And I mentioned this before, but it always intrigues me. You know, you see these big accidents that happen on the super speedways, and people wondering if that happens at all the tracks, like the road course up here at Sears Point or at a short track. And then the answer is no. I mean, the speeds are different and everything, but you know, not everybody understands that. So it's always you end up learning more about the sport yourself when you kind of talk about it that way. So it's always fun. It's important to do that. Okay. Who finished 45 laps behind the King at Atlanta in his first Winston Cup race? Here we go. This is a good one. This is a good one. Who finished 45 laps behind the King at Atlanta in his first Winston Cup race? To really put the old thinking cap on this one. who finished 45 laps, 45 laps behind the King at Atlanta in his first Winston Cup race. I guess it's for Gordon, J.D. McDuffie, Jeff Gordon, Dale. Also, big thanks to I know Seth Eggert and some others were talking about the JD book on Facebook and Twitter and everything. Big thanks to them spreading the word on that. I do still have copies in stock. If anybody's interested in picking up one, details are on my website there. I can definitely sign those and send those out. Those are definitely ready to go. It's also available on Amazon. I believe it's still on sale there. I think it's like $15.20 or $15.30 right now. So get a buck off on that. So there's that too. So if you're interested, that is certainly still there. Who finished 45 laps behind the King at Atlanta in his first Winston Cup race? The answer is Dale Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt is the answer. Dale Earnhardt. Isaac McKissick, you got it. It seemed like it's a Jeff Gordon question. See? But Isaac, you got it. Thank you, Grunge Gadget, for bringing up JD. Right on. Have to remember the slap shoes video too. Yeah, that's a tricky one. 45 laps behind Richard Petty in his first Winston Cup start. So okay, so you have to think about what people that made their debut at Atlanta, and I thought his debut was at Charlotte. Did this know one that was phrased badly? It says Dale Earnhardt because I thought he drove for Ed Negree. I'm looking weird here because I got this thing is kind of blocking my tabs thing here. We get a new one. Oh, hang on. I thought it was Charlotte, but am I wrong on this? Or is this thing wrong on this? Oop, come on. 1975. First start. Charlotte. Yeah, it was Charlotte. 355 of 400 laps. Okay, so he was 45 laps down, and Richard Petty did win. It was Charlotte. It was not Atlanta. So that question was phrased badly. Okay. So that should have said Charlotte, or it should have changed it to see how many laps behind was Gordon behind Petty, because I don't think it was 45 laps back, because Gordon crashed, and Gordon got out with crash damage, and Richard Petty wrecked and, came back out. So you had that situation too. Okay, nope, this is the wrong Jeff Gordon. This is the late model driver Jeff Gordon. Where is the Pittsburgh Jeff Gordon? Okay. Yeah, 164 laps complete. So Richard Petty would have had to complete, let's see. Oh, yeah, Gordon finished ahead of Richard Petty. Gordon finished 31st, Petty finished 35th. Yeah. And he just completed that one extra lap. Wow, that's kind of an amazing thing, too. He was in that wreck, and he just did literally the last lap of the race. I know he was rolling out as the race was wrapping up, but that's interesting to see on that. Look, I lost track of the tab. Where's the tab? Where'd it go? Okay, there it is. All right, right on. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's exactly. I'm with you, Andrew. I think these are just how crazy the times are. If you can't even count on the little trivia thing to get the trivia right, I mean, my goodness, what is going on in the world? I don't know, but yeah, it says Dale Earnhardt. So, and it said Atlanta. Look at the question again. Did I just who finished 45 laps behind the King at Atlanta in his first Winston Cup race? Yeah, that wouldn't be Jeff Gordon because he finished ahead of him, and it's Charlotte. He is 45 laps behind him, but that was done incorrectly. Okay, yeah, I think I shouldn't have put this thing next to the Elliott. Okay, next question. What politician was Grand Marshal for the 1976 Daytona 500? Surprising number of political questions in here. What politician was Grand Marshal for the 1976 Daytona 500? And that aspect doesn't really get talked about too much in that race. What politician was Grand Marshal for the 1976 Daytona 500? Was it Ford? It just says politician. Doesn't necessarily say president. Could be a senator. Could be a governor. Could be I don't know. What politician was Grand Marshal for the 1976 Daytona 500? What politician was Grand Marshal for the 1976 Daytona 500. You got Rudy Giuliani, George Wallace, Ruben Askew, Ralph Nader we got on here. Oh, there's a name I've heard a while. Paul Henry Ford. Okay, we're getting the weird answers now. All right. The answer is George Wallace. George Wallace is the answer. Oh boy. Okay. Next question. What track was the site of Dale Earnhardt's famous Pass in the Grass? Okay, well, we're going to shake it up with some difficult ones here. Yeah, does not age well. Yeah, well, there you go. What track was the site of Dale Earnhardt's famous Pass in the Grass? History is history, but there you go. What track was the site of Dale Earnhardt's famous Pass in the Grass? And of course, the answer is Charlotte. All right. Well, let's get a more tricky one. George Wallace one was tricky, but hopefully tricky, but not impossible. Let's not get ones like that Dale Earnhardt one where it's written badly. Okay. Here we go. Here's a fun one. Here's a good throwback one. Who were races at The Rock named after from 1982 through 1984? Who were races at The Rock named after from 1982 through 1984? Don't look it up. Just go ahead and guess. Mason Dixon, Warren Hogden. Any other guesses on there? Who were races at The Rock named after? I keep wanting to say for, but named after is the way it's phrased here, from 1982 through 1984. Okay, or Hogden or Hodgden. Hogden, Dwayne Johnson, Gwen Stacy, Tyson Hawley. Who were the races at The Rock named after from 1982 through 1984? And the answer is indeed Warner Hogden. There we go. Warner Hogden. There we go. Isn't Warner D. Hogden? I mean, isn't that the middle name? Let me look that up. Hogden. Oh, Warner W. Hogden. Okay, never mind. See, that saying, trust the Google and not your noodle, is very true. I swear the Mandela effect sometimes. It's like I thought for sure it was that, but of course, yeah. He was like he didn't have diamond mines or something. Okay, let's actually look this up. This will be interesting. It's worth going this over here. Warner W. Hogden. Well, let's get a little profile here. I don't see an actual like a Wikipedia page or anything, but I see a profile here on a different website. Make sure it's the same guy. This is somebody in El Cerrito, or no, in San Bernardino, excuse me, California. Without a doubt, legend, distinguishable. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure it's around the same time period, but I'm not sure if it's the right one. Let me put in NASCAR photos. California businessman. Okay, it is the same one. All right. So it looks like real estate, I think, here. Born in, controversial, hard work ethic, helped develop landmarks. He was in a redevelopment agency. 2 times he helped develop landmarks like City Hall, the Central City Mall, and later the Ashley Furniture Complex in Colton. Involved in significant projects throughout Southern California and City of Industry. I was like, okay, like urban development, real estate, kind of looks like that. Okay. See, again, where did I get diamond mines from? Was it the Van Scoy diamond mine? Okay, I'm gonna go down a little Google rabbit hole here. Is it Van Scoy diamond mines? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Okay, that's coming up. They sponsored. Okay, yeah, that's showing up. That's still in. Oh, it's in Pennsylvania. Okay. Actually, is that a Pocono question? They sponsored the Pocono race, didn't they? Yeah, Pocono. Okay, hey, I meant to do that. Okay, Van Scoy was the one I was thinking of. He owned his own one team. I know he sponsored cars. Yeah, it's kind of like a JD Stacy thing. These real estate developers and stuff. It's interesting how they ingratiate themselves into racing that way. Okay, the Van Scoy one. That was okay. That's different. All right, good question. Well, we get another one. What track was once repaved with 3.2 million bricks? Okay, well, that was going to be a harder question than that. Okay, what track was once repaved with 3.2 million bricks? Indy, you got it. It's Indy. Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay, here I'm just gonna put this one here because this came up during the Sears Point video. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this in. Those of you who've seen the Sears Point video probably know the answer to this question already because it came up there. What city is Watkins Glen International in, or what town is Watkins Glen International located in? And it's actually a trick question because the answer is not Watkins Glen. It's not what you would think. This will be the next trivia question here. The question was going to ask me what state is it in, but we're not going to do that. What city is Watkins Glen located in? What's the city's name? Don't look it up. Just guess. Just guess on that. It's technically not Watkins Glen, but try to guess on that. Okay. See again, not Watkins Glen. Go ahead and guess. It's tricky. I didn't know it right away either until coming up there. What city is Watkins Glen International located in? Rochester's in the area. That's another one too. And Thousand Lake. Nope, not quite. And if you guys give up, the answer is the town of Dix, D-I-X, or is it Dees? I don't know. It's one or the other. But D-I-X is the actual name of the town that's in that where the track is actually located. It's actually built on top of town roads in that actual area. Because somebody was asking me, it's like, okay, well, why do you call it Sears Point? I mean, it's it's where it's located, but that's not the official name. It should be called Sonoma. It's like, well, Watkins Glen isn't in Watkins Glen. It's someplace else. But if they are they going to call it, Dees International? I mean, they're not going to do that. So they're going to call it a cooler, more colorful name. And in point of fact, Sears Point actually is located near a landmark that's called Sears Point. It's related to the rancher that owns the property and all that. But I was surprised that people took issue with that in that video. I think it confused people because they were thinking, okay, Sears. That video probably should have been called "Why the Toyota Save Mart 350 is Awesome" instead of the track itself, because of course the track is much more than just its NASCAR history, even much more than just its Cup Series history. But I think that fit a little better to have it called that instead. Probably, if I had to do it over again, I probably would have changed it to that. It probably would have done better because I know the hits aren't very good on that video, which is a little disappointing. But I got some other stuff I'm working on here that'll hopefully fill the gap up. Alrighty. Okay. Ooh, here we go. Is there a Grand Marshal question for you guys? We're gonna wrap up pretty soon here. We got about 10 minutes till our podcast starts. We'll give you guys a few minutes here from that. Real ones remember Infineon. Yeah. There you go. Well, Infineon is to be praised for helping redevelop the track there, and of course SMI as well with all that. Okay. What quarterback was Grand Marshal at the 1998 Trans-South Financial 400? Ooh, good question. What quarterback? Football question for you guys. What quarterback was Grand Marshal at the 1998 Trans-South Financial 400? All right, Dan Marino, Roger Staubach, Brett Favre, Troy Aikman. Any other guess on that? What quarterback was Grand Marshal at the 1998 Trans-South Financial 400? Go ahead and just guess. Don't worry about that. Montana, Tom Brady, Troy Aikman. Yeah, quarterbacks are tricky. It's not my special expertise. I try to remember the names of like backup quarterbacks, and I just think that's interesting. But I don't know. I can't remember that many names of them. And then, of course, a lot of them have actually been promoted. Like obviously Jimmy Garoppolo being big up here in Santa Clara. And then we used to have the Raiders, but we don't have that anymore. But you can't compete with what they have down there. What quarterback was Grand Marshal at the 1998 Trans-South Financial 400? Walter Payton, Cordell Stewart, Mark Brunell. Alrighty. And the answer is Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw is the correct answer. Steel curtain. Terry Bradshaw. There's that great clip with Bradshaw, the 2001 500. I know people have probably seen it, plenty of times, but the night before the 2001 Daytona 500, where they do this thing where they're driving a sports car around the track and them together, and Dale asking Terry if he was staying around for the race, and him saying that they were bringing Fox was bringing the 18. I thought that was so cool. That's something that gets lost, of course, in everything that happened, understandably, in that race and everything. But I mean, the excitement when Fox first came into the sport. And this was after a time that ESPN had been so beloved in the sport, and people had gotten to know them for decades, really. And then TNN and CBS and TBS and all the personalities. You can see my video on the '90s NASCAR to cover that. But Fox, especially when they started off, the vision that they had at the beginning with the group that they had was really cool. And that whole week, I remember just the excitement of everything building up to it. And nobody, of course, even suspecting that it was building to what it did. But, and given, of course, what happened in the 2000 season on top of it, you had that, that excitement building in there. So, and hopefully when this all gets straightened out here and the pandemic regulations kind of ease up here, maybe they can get back to that again. I think they've done an admirable job with the limited resources they have, and hopefully things will get back to where they need to be. Marino co-sponsored Native's car. That's a good guess. That's a very good guess. I don't think that's a bad guess at all. Yeah, Bradshaw is the correct answer. Oh my goodness, look at this. Look at this. We have a JD McDuffie question. Look at that. This thing is okay. We're gonna close on this question. Where did JD McDuffie earn his only career Busch pole? Last question of the night. Where did JD McDuffie earn his only career Busch pole? I'm actually gonna take a picture of that with my phone. That's pretty awesome. This thing actually has a JD McDuffie question on it. This thing rules. Arizona Yu-Gi-Oh! Village. Do I like anime? Yes. Yes, I do. I would not consider myself perhaps the most knowledgeable on it. But, I'm no Cody Ware. But thank you, first of all, for the super chat. But yeah, absolutely enjoy it. I'm watching pitch up on Fire Force, and what was the one with the diary users? Like, that one's just crazy, but it's fun. I like anything. Yeah, I like my anime fun or just twisted. So I'm definitely going to. Maybe I'll do something on that and kind of do an anime chat from here. But yeah, I definitely am enjoying that. Where did JD McDuffie earn his only career Busch pole? All right, and you guys got the guesses on that. Dover, Atlanta, Riverside. Other guesses here. Curry Tires, absolutely. Alrighty. His only career Busch pole, and the answer is indeed Dover. So Dover is the correct answer there on that. Dover is the correct answer. So we'll wrap up on the show here a little bit. I'll field a couple more questions here you guys got. In the meantime, it was my favorite Stephen C. My favorite sign off from 2000. Yeah, the one that TNN sign off is really cool. The one they did for the Busch series was good too, where they reviewed like all the different winners they talked to. That was pretty neat. My favorite's still the ESPN one. Bob, Ned, and all that, or Bob, Ned, and Benny. I almost said Jerry, but Dr. Jerry Punch, of course, being a big part of it. That was always that was always something I really enjoyed growing up. They were my favorite easily. I just loved how comfortable they were with each other, how professional they were. But they didn't take it too seriously. They were having a lot of fun with it, and you learned a lot at the same time. Tom Cruise saying ESPN, the coverage is excellent, was a understatement, and that kind of throwaway line in Days of Thunder. I think that was very big on that. What is your next book? Still in the process. Obviously, with the pandemic, it's kind of slowed down, getting publishers and everything worked out on that. Still not ready to make the announcement on it, but we are very close. The book itself, the manuscript, I've been able to kind of catch up on it there, which is good. I think it's just about ready for at least the first look over from the editor, and the rest will be able to probably get going from there. But very excited about it. I think I've said before that it is on a driver that is still with us, and very much in the similar vein to the JD McDuffie project, but a different driver being profiled in there. I believe that's the only information I've given on that so far. Not ready to disclose more on that yet, but we're going to get something on there. The next video that's going to be on the main channel, though, is going to be on Gin Racing. I announced that on during the Talladega rain delay live stream we did last week. That is going to be a very interesting video. Script on that is already ready, so that'll be interesting on that. I like TNN's coverage. I like ESPN more, but that was a different one. Who has most last place finishes of active drivers? Technically, Joe Nemechek, although Michael McDowell is competing for the lead in the Cup Series. I believe if McDowell gets one more last place finish, he'll break the tie with Nemechek, even though Nemechek's more in the Truck Series. So you have that one as well. Joe Nemechek, not obviously John Hunter. Ever see Cup return to Nashville or Rockingham? Maybe. I think the Nashville Super Speedway thing is a stopgap measure to test that out. I do think that race needs to be supported if it's we're going to get any traction to that event. We'll find out one way or the other. Rockingham, who knows? I mean, I think it's certainly possible. I think it's the track that's in the best shape of a lot of the abandoned tracks, even more so the North Wilkesboro. Although I'm very pleased in the response that people had to the Wilkesboro iRace. I think that was one of the best ones they had during the Pro Invitational Series. So that was good. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, you guys can certainly guess on the book. That's kind of the thing on there. Favorite race from the 2000, favorite Daytona race from the 2000s or 2010s. I mean, it's unfortunate. To say the least. I mean, if you eliminated what happened in the final corner, the 2001 Daytona 500 was an instant classic. Absolutely thrilling aero package. Great racing. 2005 is also extremely underrated. I think that's a fantastic race. Great underdog stories in it. Mike Skinner having a great run in that one for Bill Davis. John Andretti, the late John Andretti, when he was driving for a startup team, they had a good run in that one. Scott Riggs and Kevin LePage getting in the top 10. Skinner and LePage were fantastic in the duels. Johnny Sauter almost made the field in an old Dodge for Phoenix Racing. Unfortunately, the car fell apart and he missed the show. A huge entry list. 2005 was fantastic. That was probably the best one since 2001. 2007's up there. I know 2007 gets talked about an awful lot. Surprisingly placid race, which is why the last place finisher completed so many laps. A very clean race until what happened at the end. 2010 was fun too. But yeah, 2002 was great. My brother's a Sterling Marlin fan, so he has mixed feelings on that one. I remember talking to him on the phone and saying like, "Yeah, you can't pull on that fender," and then he does. So there was that. Yeah, and Andrew, yeah, I did publicly announce, but I haven't done it on. I guess I should do it on Twitter. I obviously with all this stuff going on, I don't know. I don't. It doesn't feel. I mean, hopefully, well, maybe it'll be a good time, a better time than any to post stuff on that. But posting announcements on it. But yes, the next video is going to be on Bobby Ginn Racing. My Patreon members, I've already given them a heads up on that. We're hoping to get a video trailer and some stuff together on that. And this is going to be a collaboration with another YouTube user. I did mention that on the show on Sunday. Not ready to announce that yet, but this person and I were working together on that, and I think it should be a very interesting project. But the Ginn Racing debacle in 2006 and 2007 is going to be the focus on this next one. I don't know how long it's going to be. It's going to be a long-form story. I think it's a little trickier in terms of audio clips and video and everything, but we'll figure out something with that. I also, in the meantime, before that video is done, I also have something else, a re-edit of one of my other videos that is going to be posted in the next couple of weeks. That's the trailer I'm currently working on. If you look at the calendar and some of the dates coming up here, you probably have a good idea about what video it is that's going to be redone and re-uploaded. This time, I don't think I'm going to take down the old version of it. I don't think that was necessary in the Benson one, which is unfortunate because there were a lot of really good comments on that. I just didn't like that the audio dropped out, but we'll do something on that. Video on DEI post 2001 Daytona 500. There's some crossover with DEI in the Ginn video. You'll certainly see that in that, at least from the rough draft of the script that I was working on. So you might get a bit of information on that. So there was that. We're top of the hour here. Obviously, if you guys are tuning into the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, definitely go ahead and jump over there. I'll stick around in here if you guys have any questions or anything like that. I'm free to. I'll stick around here for a bit. But yeah, in the meantime, any guys going over to the podcast there, thanks again for tuning in on the trivia tonight. Hopefully, whatever issues we had on both of these with a little bit of weird questions will be worked out by the time we do our Pocono, I almost said Homestead, our Pocono show on Sunday. So we'll see. Didn't Gin Racing originally buy out MB2? That is going to be a part of it for sure. MB2 has come up in both the Johnny Benson video and the Jerry Nadeau video, so it's a little bit of a crossover between those. But it's going to be more of a story about that. Still working on a date like that. I'd like to have it ready by the end of July at the latest. That's kind of where I'm looking there, but I don't have a firm date yet. I haven't recorded my portions of the script yet either, so I need to kind of work on that. Things have just been so nuts, but we're getting there. Always like Sterling Marlone's waste management scheme. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, my brother's got a shirt with the waste management one there, but it still has the MB2 logo. I think the Gin thing came and went so quickly. There's hardly any merch that was actually made with the Gin logo. At least it seems like it. Caught up on the Scene Vault podcast yet, Steven C? No, not yet. I have to do that. I was off work for a little bit there, so I wasn't commuting as much during that time, but I'm going to be again starting tonight, so I'll be able to catch up on a lot of that. They're definitely in my rotation, so I'll be checking out some more on that. Bad booking, yeah, on the 2010 500, yeah, that was a really good one. Yeah, I mean, the potholes were a problem, but fantastic finish. Jamie McMurray was very deserving in that one, being as good of a plate racer as he is or was in his career. Yeah, that was definitely a good thing to see. What was broadcasting like during the 2003 season, LaJoy Fan 32? I mean, I think it was pretty good. I think if you watch like the Darlington race that Ricky Craven was in, the Fox, I think especially the Fox portion of the schedule, I think they started to kind of taper off a little bit. I think in like 05 to 06, it kind of went a little flat somehow. I don't know what was missing exactly. Or maybe they started moving people around a little bit. I like Jeff Hammond's involvement in it. I think he started scaling back around that time. At least it seemed like it. 2003 was still good. 2003, there were very good broadcasts that year. That was still those first like 4 or 5 years of the Fox broadcasts, I think, and especially under, again, very difficult circumstances, to say the least, with starting everything off with Dale Earnhardt and then everything that happened from there. I think it was very good. Logan Detweiler, your question about the 2012 500. Yeah, that was a good one, too. I did not watch that one live, but that was a very strange one. I was doing something else at the time, and I got a text from a friend that was saying, it was like, shoot, did you, have you seen this fire in the Daytona 500? I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, and then of course come back and find out all this crazy stuff. So it was a fun one to catch up on too. Although the video, I remember pulling it up on YouTube, and the video was like 6 hours long, and it was already down like the last, when was it, 30 laps to go, and it had like 2.5 hours left on the video. I'm like, okay, something serious happens here, but I don't know what. And then, of course, not knowing what was going on with all that. Yeah, 2011 was great. Yeah, 2011 was oh, you were in the stands there, LaJoy Fan? Oh, that's crazy. I can imagine. That was a lot of crazy ones. You got Joe Nemechek hat with the 13 car. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, so they did make some gear. I remember they were unloading it. I went to Bristol in 07 after Gin's team collapsed, and they were unloading merch for like nothing, like pennies on the dollar, like $3 for a t-shirt and all that. So I should have picked up some more Nemechek stuff, because that 13 team doesn't get talked about as much with the others compared to, of course, like the U.S. Army scheme with Mark Martin and all that. Would ever make a Bobby Isaac video? I'm open to it. Again, that's anything like that where other videos or other productions have been done, that they hit on it really well. They interview the right people and everything. I'm a little reluctant to do a video on it, because I don't know if there's much I can add, especially from the approach that I typically take with things, where I try to keep things kind of in a chronology and everything. I mean, it'd be a possibility. I don't know if they covered it 100%. That Salt Flats video that I guess it was on FS1 or Speed Channel or whatever the group was at the time that they did it, I thought that was very good. So I thought that was pretty cool. 2013 500, yeah, that was awful. Oof, man, no thanks. Should make a video about Dave Marcus. That'd be fun. Dave Marcus is always fun. An interesting person. I never got a chance to speak with him yet. He was one that was on my list for the JD book. I never got a chance to talk to him. That was too bad. That was probably a missed opportunity there. I mean, obviously he's still doing interviews and everything, which is great. But it probably would have been good if I got his input on the JD book. Big one I think was a missed opportunity was James Hilton, because he came in and he had a lot of the crew members that were working with him in 1992, and then of course Hilton passes away in that traffic accident with his son, and that was too bad. That was too bad. Okay, yeah, so that one too. Yeah, I gotta do Daytona one of these days, whether it's like the summer race or the 500. 500 would be the best. I maintain that the 500 is NASCAR at its most magical. That you have this combination of opening day and the biggest race of the year and everything else, and even with this current point system where you have stages and everything like that, winning the race is more important than anything else, and that's not big-footed by any of that. So I think that's a fun one to do. Yeah, Hilton almost made, 2007, Andrew. That was, like James Hilton almost made it. That was exciting. And really, he would have made it. He had the car that Jeff Burton drove before, and I think it was the same car Burton won the pole with in 06. It was right around that time. It was either 05 or 06. Had the older headlights on it. So it probably was an older body, like closer to a 2003, 2004 kind of Chevy. But he was in the transfer position, but then the transmission came apart. They had too many restarts, and he fell back, which would have been a tremendous accomplishment, not just for his age and how long it had been since he even entered the duels, but the fact that there was such a huge entry list in that. There were big money teams that were going home there. 2007 was the very peak of big money coming in the sport, new sponsors coming in, Toyota coming in, a lot of the open wheel stars, Montoya coming in. Of course, Carpentier and Villeneuve was later, but Montoya was really spearheading that year. A tremendous amount of talent and everything. And the fact that Jimmie Johnson was able to face all those comers and back up his championship in 06 was the first real stamp of his legacy in the sport there. Because on top of that, you also had to switch back and forth between the new car and the old car. 2007 season, there's a lot of stories in it that probably could be, interesting in their own right. That was a very unusual season with just the density of everything that was happening. Of course, it feels so quaint now. You watch 2007 Fall Talladega race, like I was watching before last week, and the cars look so boxy back then, and it's so weird. You hear Dr. Jerry Punch say that the first time Toyota sweeps top 3 starting spots, and it's like, wow, like that's so commonplace now. It's mundane. Nobody would ever talk about that. So that was a different thing. Do a video on running old models in NASCAR. That'd be interesting to do. That would be kind of thing. Yeah, that would be. I'd be interested in that. Scott Speed, yeah, that was another Red Bull driver. Later on, though, that was 2009 when he was going against Logano for Rookie of the Year, and it was pretty lopsided in that battle, unfortunately. Yeah, without the top 35 rule, yeah, if they didn't have the top 35 rule, that would have been much better, where everybody has to race to get in the top 14, and then you got speeds and owner points settling. I mean, even without the charter system, you did have to have. There were points and everything that were set up from there, but it was much more unpredictable, and you would have the risk of big teams going home. Mike Skinner did make a few starts for Red Bull, Joey fan. That was when AJ Allmendinger was struggling. Same year in 07, or maybe it was 08. I think it was in 08. I thought it was 07. It might have been 08 because I think Skinner was in it at Bristol, and Bristol was where Allmendinger made his first Cup start in 07. But yeah, Skinner was brought on because I guess the team was struggling a lot. They didn't know what speed they had and everything, and they needed a veteran to help them out. And of course, Skinner was involved with the Toyota teams at the time. Oh, what that is on my phone there. Check that later. Schrader drove for Red Bull? I don't remember that. I remember him driving for BAM Racing, but there was that too. I guess there was that. Okay. Vortex. Oh, I'll check that in a minute. All right. 2009. Yeah, Whitney Motors. Goodness me. I got to turn that ding off. It's like I got ideas every 5 seconds. Schrader drove for Red Bull. Alrighty. Oh, goodness. Just occurred to me. The person texting is probably watching this right now, so maybe they're just taking the phone to do that. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, David Gilliland. Oh, man. When he got second place at Sears Point that one year in 2008, that was really exciting. I thought he did a really good job that year. That was pretty fun. Which cars Rick Ware owns? Easy. That's an interesting one. I mean, they've moved the numbers around. Apparently, according to the team, they changed the branding so that instead of running the 52, they're running the 27. Apparently, the sponsors, at least the ones with Galding, when they came back, wanted them to run the 27. But as to how that all shakes out and who owns which cars and everything like that, I'm still looking to kind of follow up on that. I admit I don't know really much about that. I was hoping that we'd had a race this summer so that I could go in and actually talk to these guys and find something like that out. It's especially complicated now because on top of that, you got just Rick Ware, you have the premium merger, and now off of that, I guess the combination of that is so many cars that obviously you have Tommy Baldwin springing up and BJ McLeod having their own team, and they're obviously using cars that either look like or are very similar to cars that are under the Ware premium banner. So it's going to be interesting to see. Remember when Cole Witt drove for? Was it Cole Witt? I think it was drove for Red Bull when he started. Was that 2011? Right around there. It wasn't Brandon Witt. I think it was Cole. That was cool. That poor kid. He needed to get a better break there. He had some good runs with lesser equipment and everything, and kind of stepped aside very quietly. I think it was unknowingly ended up going to his last race at Phoenix. I wish I had made more of an attempt to talk with him that year. I talked with him at Sears Point when he had an accident there that took him out of the race. Didn't get shown on the broadcast and scraped up the right side of the car. I think he found the tire barrier in turn 10, and that kind of worked out there. But that was kind of the deal there. Yeah, one start in '84, so there was that. Yeah, I don't know anything about NY Racing, Jonathan Cohen's team and all that. I don't know what happened with that. J.G. Haley didn't know anything about it when I talked to him at Sears Point last year. I think it's the last time I've even breathed word about that to anybody on the subject. We'll see. I mean, Cohen's team is coming back. Has come, brought in and left a couple of times here. It could be one of those things that they're just looking for a bit of stability. Yeah, from what I heard, they were going to be doing something coming up there, but that was a difficult deal that time. Yeah, 72 team. That was a rough deal there. Yeah, with Corey LaJoie. Corey LaJoie and Cole Witt, they were trying to share that car, but they had all kinds of engine problems that year. And of course, LaJoie ended up taking the last car championship that season just with that. Yeah, I like BJ McLeod. BJ is really cool. He's really cool. I'm trying to set up another interview with him. I've talked with him once. He's been a cool guy. So I want to know more about his team and do something with that. Again, trying to piece together kind of the Rick Ware Racing deal there. But I think it's, again, these small teams have had to pull together and pool what charters they have to make sure they have guaranteed spots, try to shop cars around for sponsors. And the business model is still evolving and changing so much that you really have to kind of keep up to speed with how they're able to do it. And I think it's very difficult for them. So there's that. I don't know if Hillman or Circle Sport are still Field Easy. I'm not sure on that. Yeah, the Hulu deal, I don't know how much money was involved in that. I know Jeffrey was having some trouble there. The 33 car seemed like they kind of fell off the chart there for a while. That was too bad. So you kind of had that. But yeah, the Circle Sport, yeah, they kind of attached on to some other teams there, the 40 and the 33 and all that. I think they still have like some kind of a role at the Levine team, but I think they got squeezed out when Gibbs came on. I don't know for sure, but it seemed like that was about the time they stopped talking really about all that. But it wouldn't surprise me if Joe Falk is still involved in the sport in some way. Obviously, you got to network with whatever connections you can get that help these teams out. I mean, you look at a lot of different teams that are kind of working around on that. Anything about the IK9 thing, I can't really comment on that. I don't know much more about that. The only thing I could offer on that was I ordered a T-shirt when Jeffrey Earnhardt, I think it was Jeffrey Earnhardt, was in the 96, and it was around the time the IK9 thing was going. And I think I ordered it in the summer, and then the order got held up around the time of that. And then I did get the shirt. It was like I think it was with the Extreme Concepts Incorporated company and like all that affiliation. So that finally popped up. So I did get that in the mail, but I don't know how many others like have circulated around on that. I'll probably wear that in live stream one of these. I have it packed away somewhere. I'll give you an idea on that. But that was I thought it was cool that the Gaunt brothers had merch, so I thought that was pretty neat. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know anything about the Floyd Mayweather team. Like nothing new on that. I mean, I'm a big fan of teams. Any team that wants to jump into the sport, especially in the Cup Series, I know how difficult that is, and there's a lot of challenges that people face in there. But I'd love to see more of it. I really would. Yeah, I don't know anything about. Yeah, I don't know anything about Joe Falk or anything like that. I can't comment on that. Yeah, but different deal with that. But yeah. But no, I got. I think I'll probably wrap up here pretty soon here, unless you guys got some more questions here. Really enjoyed talking with you guys, and I appreciate you all dropping in here. Hope it was a little bit of a break from what's all been going on. Although I know I did a video on that earlier today too. But yeah, so I think I'm probably going to wrap up here because I know I mean anybody who's watching the podcast, I'm sure is already watching that, but probably free up on that as well. Which new manufacturer you think is most likely in the next gen car? Like a new car manufacturer, like a Ford, Chevy, Toyota thing? I don't know. I mean, is it how much of a blank slate it is? I'm hearing a lot of the same hopefulness from some of these small teams that the next gen car is going to be a level the playing field kind of thing. But I remember hearing that in 2007 about the car of tomorrow, and that was when Hendrick Motorsports was just unstoppable. I think the problem is that you're going to have a team that's going to figure this out a lot quicker than everybody else, and everybody's going to just be sucking wind trying to catch up, and that's going to be the real problem. Who that's going to be? I mean, it could be anybody. It could be Gibbs, could be Hendrick, could be Penske. We're seeing it a little bit with how well Penske was able to stay up front at Talladega, and they've really been kind of the super speedway kings lately. I know Hamlin won the 500 and everything, but he had to beat Ryan Blaney at the last second there. So, and of course, Ryan Newman was leading even before that. The whole Jay Robinson, I don't know anything about that. I mean, Jay Robinson's an interesting figure because he's been in and out of the sport so much for years, really. He's run the 49 car, whether it's been in the Xfinity Series or in the Cup Series, or even briefly in the Truck Series. They ran the 15 truck. I think Stephen Parsons made his debut with them. They've just been in and out of the sport a lot. I think it's, again, just one of these small teams that doesn't get talked about a whole lot. Now, unfortunately, it looks like they've now been the small fish in this thing, and are now kind of absorbed into the Rick Ware thing, where it looks like they're using one of premium shops from the pictures that I've seen. So that's been kind of the thing. Yeah, I don't know anything about all that. Yeah, I mean the thing with Jeffrey Earnhardt versus Christopher Bell and all that, and how the XCI deal came out, I don't know anything really new about that. It does. There were a lot of moving parts, and it seemed like the Christopher Bell story was kind of a big linchpin in a lot of this. Obviously, Matt Benedetto getting squeezed out of that ride last year, despite having those great runs at Sonoma and Bristol. And you have a lot of lingering things about that. And now this year, Christopher Bell is doing better now. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, it seems like he's really picked up the pace. I don't think he's still quite on the same level as Tyler Reddick. I know I talk about him too much, but I think he is very impressive. And I think he needs to be watched because he's going to sneak away a couple wins here pretty soon, and suddenly the championship complexion is going to change a little bit. I think that's going to be very interesting. So we'll see what he can do. Pocono, he's got two chances at it this weekend. Is it going to be there? It's very difficult for newcomers. We saw Eric Jones do well here in the 77 car a few years ago. Could that turn around? Childress teams wouldn't rule it out. I think Austin Dillon had a last place finish or one close to it here, but I mean, this is definitely not a track that they always struggle at. We'll certainly see there. Yeah, Custer has been off the pace. It was good to see him do well at Talladega. He seemed like he was in and around the top 10 there, but it was unusual because I think that's the first time that he's done that all year. At least it seems that way. That's been too bad. It seemed like Custer would be right up there. And although Stewart-Haas in general, I don't know if he's that far off from the rest of them, though, because, I mean, we're seeing Harvick up there here and there and Boyer at the same time, but they just seem to not have whatever the Penske guys have in terms of performance. I know Harvick dominated that Atlanta race, so that seems silly to say, but I don't know. But yeah, not every LaJoie fan, yeah, you're hitting on the head. Not every rookie is going to be a world beater for sure. I mean, John Hunter Nemechek is impressive too. He's a close second. I would love to see a battle between Reddick and Nemechek for a win because I think they would put on a show. I'm not a betting man, but I would probably put Reddick ahead on that too because Reddick is a wild horse rider when he needs to be, and he certainly was in the Xfinity Series last year. I think he is extremely impressive, and I'm very excited to see what he can do. And that's good. And I think these networks need to play up some of these guys more. I'm glad that Reddick was getting a lot of attention on Fox here between Homestead and Talladega. That's certainly been good for him. And John Hunter's run at Talladega can't be overlooked. I remember back in Fontana, Nemechek was extremely aggressive going into turn one, making a lot of just insane moves. I don't know how well it was shown on TV, but he was very fast in that one. So that was good to see. Yeah, Truex struggled in Atlanta. That was too bad. I mean, there's other teams that are kind of getting there. Bailey Curry, yeah, I see you mentioning him. That's good too. I mean, Kyle Weatherman at the same time. I see Weatherman and Curry are with Mike Harmon's team this weekend. That's one of the things I'm writing into the article for this week, and I'll get that ready, like I say, for Friday. I have a William Saki feature that's going to be up on Thursday. But those kids, Weatherman in particular, he was very hard on himself at Homestead when the car kind of went away in stage 2 at Homestead for the second race of the doubleheader. So many races, but dropped off on that. That was a good run for him there. And then Curry, I guess ultimately got a top 10 in that stage when he kind of faded off there. So good runs for Mike Harmon's team. They seem to really kind of be getting their feet under him a little bit among these other small teams, and they're definitely not a starting park team. I'll tell you that. They're trying to get the very best out of every run they can, and they seem like they have some backers that are helping them out. That's good to see. I really enjoyed the Xfinity Series more than I used to. I didn't really like the Xfinity Series growing up because I thought the paint schemes weren't very good, and I wasn't really that into a lot of the drivers that were in it. I'm sure if I was into it the same way I would be now, I probably wouldn't think of it the same way. But I like it a lot better now because a lot of the teams that are in the Xfinity Series remind me of smaller teams that would have been in the Cup Series maybe 10, 15 years ago. And that's kind of the cool thing with that. But yeah. And Corey LaJoie would be good. Yeah. Corey LaJoie. I was very impressed with Corey's run in Martinsville. And I know he was playing a lot of head games with Denny Hamlin and stuff, but that's part of the territory. That comes with the territory. And yeah, the small team versus big team thing, I think that's a fantastic little rivalry to follow on there. And I'm very interested in the little story that apparently developed from all that. Although in light of the events from the last couple of days, I'm at a point now where I'm kind of questioning a lot of these stories now all of a sudden. But that being what it is. But yeah, I was much more of a Cup Series fan in the '90s. I think it was just easier to say, okay, the race this week is just this one, even though there's Busch Series races and Truck Series races and all that other stuff. It's hard to kind of schedule around all that. Of course, nowadays covering all 3 series, it's a little busier, and I'm definitely going to be hydrating here this weekend because I'm working through Sunday. And I'm planning on covering all 4 of these races here this weekend, so we're definitely going to be doing more with that, and that's going to be something. But really excited to do it. I think it's cool that there's going to be 2 Cup races and having to be shorter distances. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I hope Morgan Shepherd's team comes back soon. Unfortunately, it looks like they're still not at Pocono, which is surprising. Pocono and Dover are kind of tracks that I usually identify with being places that underdog teams tend to show up just to get a decent run if they can, to kind of just outlast people, but not have to push the equipment too hard. Seems strange to say that about those 2 tracks because both those tracks, a minor wreck could be very serious very easily at those 2 places. But if you look at a lot of old race results from that, you used to have like some really unusual teams and drivers show up. Obviously at Pocono, Jim Rosenblum's team, what was then Lindro Motorsports, what is now the FDNY Racing team in the Truck Series. And by the way, they're coming back this weekend for the Truck Series race on Saturday. They used to be really, kind of the standout programs that would always be, they would always be showing up there, and maybe not the best team, but they'd always be there. So that was always kind of the things. Yeah, the Truck Series is cool. I got to catch up on a lot of old races like that too. Those are always a lot of fun. Yeah, it's too bad about Cole Custer. I mean, hopefully things turn around there. That's a good team and everything. I do think that Stuart Haas, except for Harvick's win, earlier this year. I mean, Harvick is just Harvick. He could probably have a wheelbarrow out there and still win a race by 8 seconds, but that's a different deal. McDowell had a good run at Pocono. I think he did when the rain came in. I don't know if it was. I don't know how good it was with Levine. Because there was that one race where like Tommy Baldwin's team got a top 5 in it, and that was one where Chris Buescher had that win with front row. So that was always good. But yeah, 2016 Pocono, yeah. I love that the fog bank rolled in on that one. That was fun. I hope the weather. What's the weather like this weekend? Is it going to be too crazy on that? I mean, I hope it's sunny because they've been working to such a tight schedule on this, and then you know what? They got Pocono this week, and then we're not too far from the Indianapolis 4th of July one. That's the next one after it, isn't it? Because they're doing the road course, Long Pond. Let's get this here. Oh, misspelled it, but I think I got it here. Come on, loading. Okay, I mean, okay. I see 80% chance of rain on Saturday, but then nothing on Sunday, so that's good. So maybe some pop-up showers there. That's gonna be iffy. Okay, well we're gonna figure this out. Yeah, 80% Saturday, 20% Sunday. But that's still a few days out. Things can always move through. Maybe the storms will go in overnight. But yeah, if you're gonna run 4 races like that back to back, that's gonna be tricky. Isn't too bad that they're still having the restrictions in place for that, because I think that Pocono is working really hard to make that double header work. Oh, that's cool. I know University of Racing Legends, the ones that make the old school diecast, right? Like the 24 scale cars. They had a really good Wendell Scott one that looked cool. That would have been really neat. I think that one already sold out, but that one looked neat. I hope they do a JD one. That'd be great. I don't know what the status is in terms of his licensing rights for things. I don't know what Imogene or Linda or anything plan to do with that. I'm sure that if that, I'd like to think they've been contacted or something, so that would make it fantastic if they did anything like one of his older cars. That would be pretty hip. Yeah, LaJoie is fun. I tend to overlook LaJoie sometimes when it comes to these small teams things, because he seems to be consistently kind of outperforming it. I kind of put him on the same level as like a Ryan Sieg, although Sieg just has just horrendous luck in the Xfinity series. That's bound to break through for him at some point. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Yeah, Corey auditioning for a good ride, yeah. And Dusty, about Larson coming back, I have no idea. That's all. There's too many moving parts on that to even begin to guess what's going to happen with that. Larson seems to be, I think he's having a lot of fun with dirt track racing, but that's about all he can tell with any of this. I don't know how interested he is in coming back to NASCAR, but I don't know. We've seen guys that are able to kind of juggle the different disciplines, of course, and even Ricky Stenhouse still has his team over there, and I guess Casey Kane does now too, even though he's retired. But you got that, among others. Yeah, David Reagan's good. Front Row Motorsports is on the verge. Not just John Hunter Nemechek, but McDowell has stepped it up a bit this year. He had a good run at Martinsville a couple weeks ago, which is highly unusual because he's usually not very good at Martinsville, but he picked things up there. I remember him struggling with Phil Parsons racing there years ago, which is like the first ever time that the 98 car was actually going to try to run a full race, and they had all kinds of brake problems and almost ran over the pit crew trying to get into the garage area. I think if you look back, I have an article on that from that year where that's when I started to really kind of listen to more of the radio conversations to kind of slot things into the articles and everything. Again, I hate I missed out on the radio broadcast at Talladega. It would have been interesting to track down what was going on with Matt Kenseth during the race. That rear hub issue is highly unusual, as you can see from the statistics brought up in the article. I've actually reached out to Chip Ganassi Racing to see if I can get some more information on that. Obviously, if I get some more information there, I'll let you guys know, but I'm working on that. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with Justin Haley not having a ride for next year. I mean, the man's won the July race at Daytona. Lightning or none, that means something. And Kurt Busch didn't have to give that race up there for him to do that. So yeah. Reed Sorensen. Yeah, Sorensen's not entered this week, is he? I don't think he is. He was in the 7 car at Martinsville, but I think they got that. Then will Sorensen retire? I don't know. It was interesting how emotional he was at Daytona when he qualified the 27 car, not knowing how many more years he was going to be able to do it. I think it's a side of him that perhaps doesn't get seen that much because he's not one of the big names out there. But he's one of these blue chip guys. And Sorensen is a lot like J.G. Haley. He's kind of a personality that's been out in the sport for a long time and tried to make ends meet and everything. And maybe he doesn't have the most spectacular results, but he's not a guy that's wadding up the car every week either. Sometimes, he just runs equipment where things just fall apart, and that can happen to anybody. Yeah, Haley will end up. It's possible. I don't know if Ganassi's going to expand. I mean, that's something you have to improve things on the sponsorship front for anything like that to happen. Yeah, Haley and Ganassi, I have no idea. No clue. I don't like doing a whole lot of silly season stuff, especially reporting the things on there. I mean, again, it's another thing where you have to really run the risk of something serious if you're wrong on that. And like I was talking about yesterday on the second channel, I think that's a problem. Now, some people are more comfortable with that because maybe they have more reliable sources, they have more ways to verify things. But I think it's I don't know. It's tricky. It's tricky. Because I try to talk to some of these drivers where they have plans maybe beyond a debut race or something, and then they're always say, "Well, we're taking it one race at a time or 1 week at a time." It's kind of a different thing, but yeah. Alternate reality where Healy and Sorensen are competitive. Yeah, that'd be great. I'll tell you. No. But for those of you tuning in late here, I know we've had the number of people here kind of fluctuate a little bit. I know we did trivia earlier tonight. I apologize. I've kind of wrapped up the trivia portion of it for tonight's show. If you want to do trivia, again, I'm going to do another one. Plan on doing another one of these shows after Sunday's second Pocono race. Probably not going to do one on Saturday, most likely, but on Sunday after the Cup race there, we'll do another one of these, and we'll definitely do trivia on that. So we have all that set up here in the meantime. But yeah, we're just kind of shooting the breeze here at this point. If you have any other questions or anything like that, feel free to drop in. I probably won't keep in here too much longer. I'm probably going to wrap this up here pretty soon because I know it's kind of running a bit long, and I know a lot of people are tuning into the live stream over at I think it was at eStep doing it this time around on the podcast. Or is it Darien? It's one of I can never keep track of it. It's a good arrangement they have, where they have to kind of work it around like that, so that's cool. Yeah, Trivia Friday night, probably not then. I got work, yeah, those nights there. It's tricky on the night shift ones, but Sunday, even being half awake, I'll at least not have work on Monday. So Sunday will be better. So we'll do, yeah. Well, that's one reason I want to kind of jump in to do this today. Danny B this week, okay, right on. So yeah, we're doing we'll do the next trivia night on Sunday, and we'll wrap up, of course, the action from however many of the 4 Pocono races they managed to get in, and kind of lump that all together into this. Originally, I've done these post-race wrap-up shows on the second channel. I think it's better to do this on the primary so people can have fun with the trivia night and all that. And I think it's easier to spread word on this channel. But any hard news and commentary, we'll keep that on the second channel there, so we can kind of keep that separate and have fun with that. So must have too high-strung monitor. What is it? Are we glitching out or something? I hope not. Goodness. Yeah, no issues here on this end, at least as far as I can tell. But we'll get through everything one way or the other. Who is NASCAR man? Oh, he's cool. He's the guy that makes the videos on his channel as we narrate for him. I don't know how comfortable he is in me disclosing more information than that. I'll leave that to him. Obviously, you can find him on Twitter if you want some more information on that. But he's very good to work with. I'm very appreciative of what he's allowed me to work with him on that, and the videos we've been able to do. It's been really an enjoyable experience. It also helps fill the gaps between my uploads on my own channel, which is good. NASCAR man is all of us. I like that. There you go. It's more of an idea than anything else. No, but that's kind of the thing here. All righty. Well, thanks again for tuning in. I'm going to wrap this up for right now. I appreciate you guys having any other questions. If you have any other questions, you can feel free to drop them into the comment section afterwards here. But thanks again for your support. Thank you to those earlier who were participating in our trivia segment earlier tonight. LastCar.info is the website. At LastCarOnBrock is the Twitter handle. Patreon.com/LastCarOnBrock is the Patreon. Thank you again for tuning in, folks. Stay safe, everyone. And look forward to more content both on the website and here on the channel. And other than that, I'll see you guys on Sunday after, again, however many out of the 4 races we get in this weekend. And there'll be plenty to talk about there. So have a good night, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time.